Hey Tamika, thank you so much for chatting
Hey.
with me. Hi, about, being a part of the I Am Arkansas campaign. I'm so excited to see your face and hear your voice. Let's go ahead. Let's dive in. So, Tamika, why do you live in Arkansas?
Well, I was born and bred here, so I didn't have a choice in being in Arkansas, but I have a choice in staying in Arkansas. So my family's from Arkansas, and that's why I'm here.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Little Rock,
Oh,
501,
okay.
but I have East Arkansas roots. My mother is from Cotton Plant, Arkansas, and my father is from Umphrey, Arkansas, which is Humphrey is in both Jefferson County and Arkansas County, but he lives on the Jefferson County side.
Okay, and are their parents also from Arkansas?
Yep, my mother from Cotton Plant and my grandmother was from Cotton Plant, and my daddy's family for maybe about two generations, Pastoria, Cheryl area, and Humphrey. So yeah,
So you were born
it's
in Little Rock, and
I was
have
born
you
in Little
have you lived here your whole life?
my entire life. I
Wow.
even going away to college, I would come home every weekend because I went to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So I was just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And I would come home just about every weekend because I worked and because my now husband was also here. So I wanted to come home and see him. So
Oh.
yeah, I've never lived anywhere else. And I've always thought about people who have lived in other places and admired that courage to leave. But I've always kind of been a homebody,
Mhm.
and being able to really kind of navigate my streets without having to think too much about it is like kind of sacred to me.
Yeah.
So I love Arkansas and I love Little Rock.
That's just so, and I know you were saying you admire the bravery of people that live in other places, but there's also, we learn so much for those of us who just do public service work like yourself, how valuable it is to work in your own community. So how do you
Right.
think being born here, living here your whole life helps you in your career?
Well, so Arkansas, we say there are 6 degrees of separation overall, but Arkansas, there is no separation
Yeah.
at all. And it's so interesting because when I started out my career, I was about 21 years old.
Mm.
And at the age of 22, I was promoted to being a regional person. So I covered 9 counties statewide. And the beautiful thing about being from Arkansas was I could say to people that my mama was from Cotton Plant, my daddy was from Humphrey, and people were like, oh, yeah. And so those connections, especially since I was in working in politics, paid off because someone knew either someone from my
Mm.
family or I knew someone from their family,
Mhm.
and it almost was like they vouched for me.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, you're so the bar to getting into places
Mm.
or the bar of establishing relationships,
Mhm.
that bar was lowered, or that barrier was lowered because of my Arkansas roots, right? So I was an intern for Blanche Lincoln, and I also worked for her for about 11 years. But as an intern, I learned all 75 counties and their county
Mm.
seat. And so when
Wow.
people would come out and they say, oh, I'm from such and such, I would say, such and such county. And they were like, what? But I'm Arkansas. Of course I know
Yeah.
my county. And so it helped in ways to um, lower the bar on meeting people. So it gave me better access, I think.
Mm.
It also helped people to see that because I'm from Arkansas and I'm working here, they knew I saw their best interest. So it
Mhm.
wasn't, I'm dipping in to do a thing and then running out. Like, this
Mhm.
is my home, so I'm vested as well.
Mhm.
But I've also established like lifelong friendships
Mhm.
because I'm still in Arkansas and I see people and they haven't forgotten me and I haven't
Mhm.
forgotten them. And so it improves my quality of life in a
Mhm.
way because of those strong relationships, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so cool. Your family vouched for you. Your name vouches for you, and like
Yeah.
I've noticed that so much. So I'm not from Arkansas. I'm from Tennessee, which has some similarities in terms of who you know. But Arkansas is so much about everybody seems to know everybody.
And that's the thing. And so, in working for Blanche, she was from Helena,
Mm,
Arkansas. And so folks knew her family.
mhm.
And it feels home when you meet someone
Mhm.
from your space and place, or even now, looking at our mayor, and he's from Little Rock and went to high school in Little Rock, and
Mhm.
there's just so much pride in knowing that you kind of were in the same spaces and did the same things, and then you can see yourself in people who
Mhm.
ascend into these larger places.
Yeah,
It is so fascinating to
yeah.
to to live here and to see things move and to know, the crevices of Little Rock in a way that some people just don't.
Yeah, I love that point, Tamika, in terms of, the saying you can't be what you don't see, right? And so being able to see people who are in positions like the mayor or, you
Right.
know, chief diversity officers at a huge organization, you see that you can do these things and people have stayed and accomplished great things, right? And it kind of gets at the myth of you have to leave to be somebody six, and how important it is to actually kind of fight that myth, because there's so much that you can do in your own hometown and that you can accomplish, and so much need, right?
Right. That's
And that
right.
we need people to stay and do those things in their hometowns, right? Do you have any favorite memories? You don't have to be specific, but anything just from the place growing up, or just things that you just have memories of this place or being in Arkansas.
Well, so I think I have good memories overall,
Mhm.
but I didn't really venture out of Little Rock and Pine Bluff and stuff
Mhm.
until I was a professional.
Mhm.
And I, I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, but I didn't go to Northwest Arkansas until I was in my mid-20s.
Okay.
And recognizing the differences in the landscape just in going from South Arkansas to Northwest Arkansas,
Mhm.
and even being in Central Arkansas, and just the moment that I realized how beautiful Arkansas is, right? I think it's the fondest memory for me
Mhm.
because knowing what that millions of people come here every year to enjoy the resources that I grew up with, it's
Mhm.
just kind of like, oh my gosh, people come to Arkansas. And so, sometimes we put ourselves down and thinking that Arkansas doesn't have anything, but so many people externally see the beauty
Mhm.
of our state. Just made me start to think about me personally.
Mhm.
Do I look at myself, or have I ever looked at myself as not being a good resource or
Mhm.
being something that people would appreciate? And
Mhm.
so I look at that alignment of how we thought about our state and how I've thought about myself, but there's
Mhm.
so much beauty in both that we just really have to realize what it is. So, you know,
Yeah, I love
I just
that.
have good memories of Arkansas.
Yeah.
I have bad ones too. Now, don't get me
Well,
wrong.
sure. I mean, you lived in a place your whole life. There's gonna be that
Yeah.
for sure. What are some of your favorite things to do in Arkansas?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I am a homebody.
Hmm.
So, I have floated the Buffalo River. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, the Buffalo. And that was so wonderful because that water is so beautiful. And it was like, oh, we can do this here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going down and walking the Big Dam Bridge, or just walking
Hmm.
around our neighborhoods. I don't,
Favorite
I just
restaurants?
Oh, well, I have too many, so I don't want to single out any one. But we
Right.
do like to eat. Well, so I'll tell you. So what we do for fun, we do take our kids once a month to any restaurant they want to go to.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and regardless, we can go anywhere because we want them to experience what's here.
Mhm.
And so if it's a fancy one, we'll dress up and go. If it's not so fancy, we'll go how we are. And then we'll rank them. So in my husband's
Oh.
phone, we'll put like hearts or something like that next to the restaurant that we liked, or we will advise one another not to go back to a restaurant. So we spend a lot of, spending a lot of time with my kids. I think it's just really great,
Mhm.
raising them in the place where I was raised,
Yeah.
like knowing so much about
Yeah.
my hometown, which is now their hometown. I
Yeah.
think it's just wonderful.
It's so special.
And too, I'll tell you, one of the things that I also kind of pride myself in is knowing how to get to a place in about 5 different ways.
Mm.
So the other day we were on the interstate and it seemed like it was backed up, but we knew immediately that we could go 2 to 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is what you get from living.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, just two more questions.
Okay.
What do you like, appreciate, love about Arkansans?
That you really never meet a stranger.
Mm.
And Arkansans have a way of making you feel at home wherever you are.
Mm.
And I think that's special.
Mm.
And even though we have our differences, I've recognized that Arkansans really do want to help.
Mm.
Um, and so that's what I've experienced in living here. That Arkansans, I mean, we have a good heart and we want to do what's best. And so I think that's what I've seen with the people here.
And last question, Tamika, what are
Mm.
your hopes for Arkansas moving forward?
Hmm, that's a good one. Um, I hope that Arkansas lives up to who we say Arkansas is
Mm.
in our writings, in all the rhetoric. We want Arkansas to realize her potential.
Mm.
I know people have different ways of trying to get there, but I really hope that Arkansas recognizes who Arkansas is.
Mm.
And that is in so many different ways of our elected officials,
Mm.
people who work in corporations, and the good heart of Arkansans really needs to come through in the way that we continuously or continually treat one another and not
Mm.
just a one-off. It needs to
Mm.
be all the time. And I hope that as Arkansans, we can see ourselves in other people, which then allows us to have empathy and a lot more compassion than looking at people through our separated lived experiences and assumptions, right?
Mm.
So it's one thing to have a lived experience where you've had to help other people, it's
Mhm.
another to have a lived experience where you don't know what it means to be without. And
Mm.
so maybe if we stop with assumptions and thinking that people cause their own demise every single time, and
Mm.
we see the good in people, then we
Mm.
can see a better Arkansas and one that we can come together to help each other out.
I love that. Tamika, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about why you are Arkansas.
Well, you are very welcome, and I don't plan on leaving Arkansas.
Well, we're lucky, so lucky that that is the case.